inspection, I'm going to ask these people to come in and sit down and talk with them and tell them exactly.
Mayor Ramsey, I don't care what your reasons are. I am not going to allow you to inspect my home, period, end of story. Don't call me again. Don't write me any more letters. This matter is settled. Then what, as mayor of Covington, are you going to do?
Well, we might have to, at that time, go to court with them to ask them to...
Ask? When you go to court, you don't go to court to ask people to do something.
We will be going to court to tell them we want to inspect the house.
No, you've already told them you want to, and they've said no. So what are you going to court for?
We're going to court to inspect the house.
You're going to court to force them to allow you to inspect their house. Is that right?
That's right.
And then what happens?
That's what the courts have told us we have to do.
Fine. And then what happens if the court says you must allow, and I still say, no, you are not going, I don't care what the court says, you are not going to inspect my house. Get off my property, leave me alone. Then what are you going to do, Mr. Ramsey?
Well, that's up to the court. I'm not going to be doing anything.
You know, wait a minute, you're going to be the mayor of Covington and you don't know it?
I'm not going to be the one to decide what will be done.
What happens next, Mr. Ramsey? You know what happens next and you just don't want to admit it.
What's that?
The police show up and use force to remove you from your home and detain you until the housing inspection takes place. Is that not correct, Mr. Ramsey?
I don't know whether that's going to be correct or not.
Under your administration, would you permit that?
I don't want to think... Frankly, I would hate to go that far.
I didn't ask you whether or not you would hate to go that far. The question was, under your administration, would you permit the police to forcibly remove... You would.
Neal, you act like we've got a bunch of unreasonable people in Covington that can't sit down and reason with people. I don't think we're that kind of folks down here.
Well, you're the kind of... Hold on. We'll be right back.
Good morning. I'm Marcy Williams with breaking news into the WSB News Center. WSB's Don Dornberg is now at the scene of Kennedy Middle School where there has been a shooting this morning, and Don has got some updated information for us. Don, tell us who's been shot and who are police looking for?
Apparently the shooting involved teenagers, although we are led to believe they were not students here at Kennedy Elementary or Kennedy Middle School. A 16-year-old was shot and was taken to Hughes Spalding Medical Complex. We don't know his condition. We believe it is not life-threatening. They are looking for another 16-year-old, have a tentative ID on him. They know where he lives. He is not in custody as far as we know. Earlier reports that a teacher had been shot are incorrect. A parent may have been grazed in the shoulder by a bullet, but no flesh wound. So again, a 16-year-old shot, taken to Hughes Spalding. They're looking for another 16-year-old. Both these teenagers are not students at Kennedy Elementary School here in Northwest Atlanta. Reporting live, Don Dornberg, News Talk 750 WSB.
Stay with News Talk 750 WSB for more details. We'll have Don again live at 9:30. For now, I'm Marcy Williams live in the WSB News Center.
We'll continue our conversation with Sam Ramsey in Covington in just a moment. Folks, got to pay a bill. Stay right there.
Dr. Laura.
I've been having problems with my boyfriend, and I'm in the process of moving out. I'm ready for a full commitment.
You want to get married?
Yes.
Okay, and he says...
He's not ready.
Okay.
Solutions to your problems.
If after 2 years of living together at your age and he's not ready, then
Right.
you shouldn't be shacking up with him.
Dr. Laura.
Because you're
Right.
not building toward anything.
The more you listen, the more you get it.
So, yes, move out.
Okay.
Weekdays, noon till 3. Exclusively on News Talk 750 WSB. Depend on it.
Hi, everybody. Neal Boortz here to do just about a minute's bragging on my new Dodge Ram quad cab. 3/4-ton dually. You know the...
750 WSB.
Well, the fun continues.
All right, back to the phones. On the phones right now, mayoral candidate Covington, Georgian Sam Ramsey, who is holding strong, ladies and gentlemen, in face of my onslaught over these mandatory inspections in Covington. He told us before we went to that bulletin about the shooting, more on that coming up, he told us that as mayor of Covington, he would support the police removing people from their homes by force so that the government could enter those homes and make inspections. Does that sound like America to you, Mr. Ramsey?
That is not what I said, Neal.
We got the tape, Mr. Ramsey. You absolutely
did.
did.
Remove anybody from their house by force in this town as long as I'm mayor.
You said...
We've had a mayor in Let me speak a minute. We've had a mayor in Covington for 20 years that was in favor of this housing code. We've had another mayor since then who was in favor of this housing code. We've got 6 of 8 councilmen in Covington that are in favor of this housing code that were elected by the people and have been elected by the people for the last 20 years. I think the people of Covington have enough sense to make up their own mind about something like this, and I don't think they will keep electing people to office like they have for the last 20 years that are people they don't trust to do the right thing with people in this town. We are not a Gestapo down here like we have been accused of being. And I'm just telling you, I don't appreciate this kind of publicity for Covington, Georgia.
I'm sure you don't.
Which is one of the finest towns I know of, and we've done a pretty good job in Covington. These same people have gotten over $1.8 billion in industrial development to this town. If we just get people employed where they can work, this housing code is going to take care of itself because people are going to have enough money to fix up the houses like they need to be fixed.
Well,
we're going to help people. Anybody that needs some help to fix their house up, to meet this code, we're going to work our heads off to get it done.
All of the help in the world that you are offering to help these, that makes that is completely ancillary to the issue of the government saying you don't have any choice in the matter. We are going to get our access to your home to come. Now, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What happens if I'm engaged in, I live in Covington, and I'm engaged in illegal activity? Okay? Let's just say that sitting on my dining room table in absolute plain view when you walk in is a bowl of marijuana or something.
Let's back up a minute.
Yeah.
We don't walk in without notifying you when we're going to walk.
That's not the issue. That is not the issue.
You can hide all your marijuana.
No, that's not. That is
we
not.
We are not going in for that purpose.
I didn't ask you if you were going in for that purpose. I asked you if you. The scenario I'm painting is this: you enter my home for the inspection. When you get in there, sitting out in plain view is an illegal drug.
All right, it would be illegal for us to report that.
It would.
Housing code.
It would be, okay.
The housing code inspector, if he reported that to the police, that person could turn around and sue the city of Covington for doing that because that's not the reason we're going in there. And if this police could, that person could say the police did that, we could turn around and be sued.
Okay, look, now let me ask you this then.
Okay.
The inspector walks in the house, and sitting over in the corner of the dining room is a person with a piece of duct tape over their mouth and their hands tied, and they're obviously being held against their will. A crime is being committed. Is your inspector going to look there and say, "Damn, that's odd," and not tell anybody about it?
Well, legally he couldn't.
Would he?
I don't think he would, because legally he couldn't. We couldn't take action based on the housing code man seeing that, because that is not the reason he's in there, is to find out what's going on in that house. For these specific purposes, it spells it out.
I'm sure
the only reason he can go in the house is for these specific reasons in the housing code.
I got you. I'm sure you run a wonderful...
That's the truth.
Yeah, okay.
All right, I'm telling you that the police powers, that's the reason I didn't want to get confused between police powers and this housing.
Okay, we're on a break. Mr. Ramsey, you're a bold man. I'm not going to stay out of it. I appreciate your time in giving us a call today. I really do, and it took courage. Sam Ramsey, if Bobby Sigmund wants to call now and wants to get on the air, we're happy to give him a couple of minutes, too, to say what he thinks about this. I'm sure he's listening by now. The Neal Boortz Show. Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. We'll be back. News Talk 750 WSB.
Remember this date, May 1st, 1999. Not 98, That's May 1st, 1999. That's how long you can wait to pay for your new rooms-to-go furniture. This is an extraordinary opportunity you just don't want to pass up. Right now, you can get beautiful rooms-to-go furniture. Put no money down except tax. Get delivery of your new furniture in days, not months. And you have until May 99 to make your first payment. This is the offer you've been waiting for. This is one of the best delayed payment finance offers around. So hurry to Rooms to Go. Furnish with flair and fashion. Save big. Put no money down. Make no payments and pay no interest until May 1st, 1999. Minimum purchase $300. Rooms to Go actually pays your interest until then. There's no accruals, no interest, no penalties, no catch. I told you this was good. Then again, what would you expect from Rooms to Go? And remember, the interest does not accrue. Rooms to
Go. Royal just said, let's say Jeffrey Dahmer lives in Covington. And the inspector goes in there and opens up in the refrigerator, and there's a bunch of heads in there. And so the inspector takes the temperature, right temperature, closes the refrigerator, never says a word to anybody. Or there's a gang rape going on in the bedroom. Oh, wow. Hey, guys. Excuse me, I just want to check to see if the electrical outlets are working fine. Okay, well, I'm sorry. I got Louie on the line here for Benny Shoes.
Neal.
Hey, Louie, how's the gambler sale going on over there?
Why are you hollering so much over there?
I'm having a good time.
I heard you all the way outside here.
I'm just having a good time.
I know you are, buddy. Look here, you want to have a good time, come over to Benny's.
Okay.
Okay? We cut a watermelon at 4:30. But anyway, let me tell you something. What's going on at Benny's? We got our gambler sale, everybody.
Yeah.
Our famous gambler sale. We've been having it for the last 15 years. And now it's 60% off. Everything on the racks is 60% off.
Today and tomorrow?
Today and tomorrow.
Okay.
Then Sunday, they're 70% off. That's when it's a madhouse. That's when I don't even come to work. No, I'll be there. But anyway, it is something else. We do some selling of shoes. They're great, great buys. They're super, super bargains. And they're all on racks. It's at the Lindbergh store only. Remember that. The Lindbergh store only.
60% off today and tomorrow, right. And 70 on Sunday.
Right, buddy.
Okay, Louie, I'll tell them.
Tell them how to get here?
I'll do it.
All right, pal.
It's easy, folks. Just get off Georgia 400 at Sidney Marcus. Go right up to the corner of Piedmont and Sidney Marcus. There it is, right there. Benny Shoes in the Lindbergh Plaza Shopping Center.
Now, the top local news from the station you trust. News Talk 750 WSB. Atlanta's news, weather, traffic, and hawk station. Depend on it.
Good morning. It's 9:31. I'm Marcy Williams in the WSB News Center. This update's brought to you by Bell South Mobility. Our top local story this half hour. As you heard first on WSB, there's been a shooting outside Kennedy Middle School on James P. Brawley Drive. WSB's Don Dornberg joins us live from the scene where he sorted out who was hit and who police are looking for now. Don?
Marcy, both the victim and the suspect are 16 years old, although people here from the school system indicate neither was a student here at Kennedy Middle School. The victim who was shot in the leg, a 16-year-old taken to Hughes Spalding Hospital. They are looking for another 16-year-old young man. They believe they have a tentative ID on him and know where he lives, although we are told he is not in custody at this time. Earlier reports that a teacher had been shot are incorrect, although a parent may have been grazed in the shoulder by a bullet, but there was no flesh wound. So again, a 16-year-old taken to Hughes Spalding with a leg wound. They are looking for another 16-year-old. Neither teenager was a student here at Kennedy Middle School. Reporting live, Don Dornberg, News Talk 750 WS.
In other stories that we're following for you at this hour, Agriculture Secretary Dan Glickman's in Peach County this morning to inspect the peach crop after this week's freeze. The blueberry crop's also taken a hit. Boulder police admit it'll take a grand jury to get anywhere in the JonBenet Ramsey murder case. They've investigated for more than a year without coming up with a trial-worthy case. Somebody broke into the Spalding County Animal Shelter again this week to sick two pit bulls at one another until one was dead. That's the second time in 2 days. This could be an embarrassing day for the president. His lawyer...
man's feet.
Curse this man's shank! Perhaps we can start having a bit of fun. Bit of fun? Yeah!
872-0750, the number. Neal Boortz on News Talk 750 WSB. Louis said I was yelling. Royal, am I yelling?
No.
Am I just excited?
You're just happy. It's Friday. You're going on a 3-day weekend.
Well, I'll tell you what. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to take Louis's money away from him
Oh, and that poker
and that
game?
poker game behind the stock room at Benny's. And you think I'd go over there from Saturday mornings to buy shoes? Okay, 8720750 would be our phone number, folks, if we had one. The telefax number is 404-607-8255. Long-distance calls at 800. WSB Talk. It is the Neal Boortz Show, along with the best staff in Talk Radio Anywhere. Royalty doing the running the board, playing the music, and doing all the engineering. And Belinda Blochowski in there schmoozing with David Shandley and answering phone calls. No response from Belinda Blochowski. She was occupied. That was quite a conversation with Sam Ramsey. Now, I got some people on the phones that want to react to that. And let's move on. I'm going to talk about the Marist people. And, my feeling that you need to fasten your seatbelts. I think you need to fasten your seatbelts, folks, because all hell is fixing to break loose. Maybe next week, maybe 2 or 3 weeks from now. But we are fixing to have, as they say in the South, a good time. Here's Jerry in Buckhead. How you doing, Jerry?
Hey, Neil. How you doing?
Okay.
I'm glad you left a little bit of Sam to go back home with. He tore him up.
I just don't like. I am outraged over the idea of the government telling me that I must step aside and allow them to come into my home and inspect my home.
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because I asked the very same question Tuesday night at one of these meetings in North Covington. We had a little meeting with the candidates, and I asked that very same question. I mean, I told them, I am not letting some stranger in my house. What is going to happen? And he went on with this, well, it's done a good thing, and if you notice, all those houses on that street have been torn down. Remember all of them derelict houses? And I'm just thinking, people are probably living in those houses. And they're probably living that way because they wanted to, and freedom of choice and so forth. And we bought an old house out there. We're fixing it up. I'm taking every dime I've got, putting it into it. I'm not letting some stranger walk around and poke around and, look around saying, oh, this looks okay.
Now, was I right? I asked him. I mean, politicians, hard to pull this out. Mm-hmm. I asked him, we went through the progression of what happens if people refuse. Mm-hmm. And finally, we got down to the point that the police have to use force to remove you from your home. And he said, yes. Mm-hmm. Now, am I wrong? Did he not say yes, that he would support the police removing you from your home by force, if necessary, to get this inspection done?
Yeah, I heard him say that, too.
Royal, am I wrong? Because then when he came back from the break, he said, I didn't say that.
Hey, Neil, you remember when Bobby Sigmund called you when you first brought this up?
No, I don't remember that. Well, I remember when I first, but I don't remember Bobby Sigmund's call.
Yeah, he called you. He's got a plan where, this is what I asked him, and he's got a plan where they said, before they turn the utilities on, somebody moves out and they're about bringing new tenants or something like that, before the utilities turn on, you go out and you inspect the house. There's nobody in there. You're looking at the structure of the house. You're looking at the well-being of the house. And that sounds like a great idea, because that would concentrate on the rental properties, which is what the major problem is out there.
Well, I could see an ordinance that says, for instance, before we turn on the gas, we've got to do an inspection to make sure that it's not going to blow the house off.
Right,
right. Yeah.
That sounds fine to me, but, when they're talking about, several people at the meeting were like, they came in, they were really nice and friendly, and I looked around saying, you just let them in your house? No, I don't want to.
I love his answer about the person in the corner tied up with duct tape over their... Well, we won't say a thing. Hey, that's your business. We're just here to see that the plugs work.
Yeah, you're right. You're telling me in a little town like Covington that the inspector's going to keep his mouth shut.
Yeah, right? Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the inspector walks in and you have, let's say you have a nude
fiction going on there.
Or a nude picture, or there's a dirty videotape that you're getting ready to take back to... I mean, it's just... I just don't like it at all.
Yeah.
I just don't like it.
Well, I mean, we really wanted to vote for Sam Ramsey because Bobby can sway whichever way the wind blows. But, on this issue, it looks like we're going to have to go with Bobby.
This is the type of issue. That would cause me... I could support another person on across the board. Mm-hmm. But this is the type of issue that would cause me to say, I'm sorry, because you support these mandatory home inspections, I'm going to have to vote against you and hope that the next time an election comes up, we can get a better qualified candidate running who will not go along with this tactic.
Exactly. I don't like to be a one-issue voter. But on something like this, I think it's systemic to the entire idea of what they think government should do.
When it comes to my privacy and my home, I become one issue in a real hurry.
Yep.
Hey, thanks a lot, Jerry.
You bet, Neil.
I appreciate it. 8720750, and we're looking at Mickey in Marietta next on the Boortz Show. Go ahead, Mickey.
Hey, good morning, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I tell you what, my wife and I have been looking for land outside the Atlanta area to move out in the country.
Don't feel pregnant.
We've been looking in Rockdale and Newton counties. I'll be damned if I'd move out that way now. I tell you.
Well, you'd be okay as long as you're not in the city limits of Covington.
That guy you just talked to, what a jerk.
Well, not, you see, that he had, we only talked to him on this one issue. Housing inspections, and I may agree with him on a whole lot of other issues, but on this one, I am just absolutely steadfast against it. I fear government. I know we need government. I know we need to be vigilant every waking day of our lives to make sure that government does not become too overpowering and too strong. And when they tell me that I have to let them into my house to inspect my house, even though there is no probable cause or any other reason for them to do so, at that point, it's time to dig your heels in.
It's unacceptable. I believe you were talking yesterday about when government becomes too big, we need to get rid of that government.
Well, the Declaration of Independence addresses that.
Exactly.
It says when government becomes destructive of the ends of liberty, that it is not only it is the duty, it is the responsibility of people to change things. Right now, we can change things at the ballot box. Right now, the people of Covington have an opportunity to express at the ballot box how they feel about this government intrusion. And once the ballot box fails to work, you have to resort to other methods.
Exactly. And I'd just like to tell Mr. Ramsey that those areas off our little map have been crossed out.
Okay, take care.
We love you, Neil.
Thank you, sir.
Uh-huh.
As I guess what got me going was the statement that Mr. Ramsey made Monday night's meeting. As far as Neal Boortz is concerned, I wish he'd stay in Atlanta and let us tend to our business in Covington. Well, you know, I'm sorry, I'm in Covington. Here I am. 50,000 watts blasting into every little nook and cranny of Covington. We just don't have a way to take our massive blowtorch transmitter here and tweak it so that it can't be heard in Covington. So I'm there. And as long as I'm there, I may as well screw around with your politics. Just the way it goes. We'll be back. Neal Boortz, News Talk 750. This is WSB.
This is Scott Slade. Among the stories we're following for you this weekend that you heard first on Atlanta's Morning News.
This score said it was the worst-case scenario that came true.
The U.S. Secretary of Agriculture assesses Georgia crop damage from the cold wave.
He is 7 degrees. Hot dog. It's warming up a little bit better than it was the other day. 8720750. That's number News Talk 750 WSB. Here, ladies and gentlemen, is Susan from Covington, and Susan thinks I'm making a bad mistake here. We're going to let her tell us why. How you doing, Susan?
Good morning, Neil.
Uh-huh.
I tell you, I've been listening to you for a long time, and this election has had a serious problem for a lot of people in Covington. It has not been an election on who to pick the best candidate. It has turned out to be an election on which one of them will do our community the least amount of harm.
Like a presidential election.
It's horrible. And I really hate to see you, without you knowing the full scheme of everything, pushing for people to go to the polls and make a change when both of these gentlemen have been on the city council for a minimum of the last 5 years. I don't see where Mr. Sigmund has done anything other than to shoot his mouth off to stop this process. I am completely against this housing inspection. I think that we
Have they inspected your house yet?
No.
What are you going to do?
I have a new house.
Yeah.
And we've just been in it within a year, and I don't foresee them being here anytime soon.
What would you do if they came?
Sir?
What would you do if they said, hey, it's your turn, open your door?
I guess we'll all end up in court.
Yeah.
But my main thing is I don't want to see the people of Covington picking their next mayor because of this one particular item
I think it's an issue that is that important.
It is an important issue, but in the scheme of things, of everything else going on in our community, it is not the most important issue. It is not the reason that we need to choose the next mayor. I think you need to look at the candidates. If you do have a copy of the Covington News, on the back page of the sports section is the one-page ad that Mr. Sigmund ran.
I don't have the whole thing. Send it to me.
Well, it's bad. It's really bad. I mean, we have a gentleman here that is on telling everybody that he is against the rich, he is against the powerful, he's just downtrodden, he's just going to help the good old working man. He's not going to help anybody. This man owns a land investment company. Do you think that's who we need to be mayor of Covington?
Hey, I'm a land investor.
But you don't have prior knowledge to things that the city's fixing to purchase.
If I did, I'd go buy it.
And you don't have a problem with that?
Well, no. I do if you're using inside political knowledge. But,
and that's exactly.
But, you know, you send it to me. I mean, if there's other issues, I'll discuss them. But I'm telling you that this issue, this is an issue that absolutely outrages me. Because when somebody presumes to tell me as a private homeowner that I have to open up my private residence to inspection by the government, that is an outrageous violation of the sanctity of my property. And it is, Susan, an issue on which I would cast a vote. And if I had to go for a candidate who upset me in other ways, then I would say, okay, look, this issue of home inspections is strong enough that I'm going to vote for this guy that otherwise I would not vote for. And then 4 years from now or whatever, I'm going to hope that I can improve on that.
Well, we have 18 months after this election because the next time that they'll run, I believe, will be in 18 months.
Well, then you have 18 months to try to find somebody that suits you better on all counts.
All right, and that's the most important thing. There are right at 8,000 registered voters in the city limits of Covington. In the last election, there were less than 1,500 that voted. They have got to get out and they have got to vote. They have got to get off their butts and they have got to run for office.
That's a problem that exists just everywhere in the country, is that too many people complaining and not enough people taking action when the time comes.
And I appreciate the people that are willing to take the time and get out there and want to do it, but you have got to look at the whole picture and not just vote for a candidate because of this.
I understand, but and I appreciate your call, Susan, but as I said, this is the type of issue that would cause me, it'd have to be pretty strong. The other guy would have to be pretty rancid in order to get me to go with somebody that approved of these home inspections. It's that bad for me. Now, we're going to take a short pause. If I put somebody on the air now, I'm going to have to cheat them out of a lot of their time, so I won't. We have other things that we'll be talking about a little bit later. In Illinois, I've told you about Senator Carol Moseley Braun. She's a Democrat. She's perhaps one of the least qualified people ever to serve in the Senate of the United States. And she is running for re-election this year and could easily be beat. But there's a little problem with the Republican Party in Illinois. There is a candidate that the polls show could beat Carol Moseley Braun. That candidate is a lady by the name of Loletta Didrikson. She's a state controller right now. But she may not get the Republican nomination because there's another Republican, Peter Fitzgerald, that is running against her, and he is running on the anti-abortion thing. Here we go. It's Georgia all over again. And the anti-abortion zealots, the anti-abortion nutcases up there in Illinois, will put Peter Fitzgerald in with the nomination to run against Carol Moseley Braun, even though the polls in that state show that he cannot beat her. So Carol Moseley Braun will be, under that scenario, reelected to 6 more years of idiocy in the United States. And it's what happened here in Georgia, folks. It's just what happened here in Georgia. So you anti-abortionists, you abortocentrists, you just keep it up out there. Keep it up. You will quite possibly just destroy this country with your obsessive, compulsive attention to that one subject. It's almost 10 o'clock. We'll have an update for you on the shooting outside the school here in the metropolitan Atlanta area and other news from our crack news team. right here on News Talk 750 WSB, and we'll be back with more of the Neal Boortz Show.
Yes, you all recognize Take Me Out to the Ball Game from baseball.
You know the importance of maintaining good health.
At barnesgovernor.org. Roy Barnes, ideas that work for you.
Paid for by barnesgovernor.org, Inc.
Spring is here, and so is your chance to save during Hayward Allen Toyota's Get Out There sales event. Now is the time for great deals on a big spring.
Plus the greatest baseball
and allergy relief.
Call today.
Hello?
Hello.
School authorities. Marist is up there near Perimeter Mall, Dunwoody area. Have uncovered widespread cheating on final exams in chemistry, physics, and a religion course that deals with ethics. Cheating uncovered at the same time a committee was developing an honor policy and comes in the wake of revelations, you know, the Chattahoochee and this and that. The 1,000-pupil Catholic school on Ashford-Dunwoody Road in DeKalb County assembled students in physics, chemistry, and peace and justice, that's the ethics course, on Thursday to discuss the stolen exams which were shared with other students. Students who learned of the scandal Monday are being urged to confess, so forth. Look, cheating at Marist. Wow. Why are we surprised? Why is this even a news story? Down there in Covington. Hi, Bobby. How you doing? Are you with us? There you go. Bobby. Well, Bobby didn't do a whole good job of getting on the phone, folks, so we'll give it another shot a little bit later. 872-0750.
A couple of council members that are not in favor of this housing code. And I hope when I become the mayor, that I can convince the rest of them to let's do away with this program, because I feel like it's a violation of our constitutional rights. I think it's the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution, and like I told a group the other night, that, you know, this is why our forefathers wrote into it and to keep the redcoats out of our house. And when the redcoats was coming in to just take over your home, this is part of this constitutional amendment they wrote in there.
Well, no, it's not fair to say they're actually coming in to take over the home.
No, they're not coming in to take over the home, but they're just coming in, they can come in under a court order. But I want to do away with it. That's a better way to solve the problem than what we're doing.
Now, let play devil's advocate with you, because, you know, this would be a reason, for instance, for me that I would not move. You see, I'm in the process of considering moving where I live.
Right.
And, you know, I already got the hell out of Atlanta. Now I'm thinking about getting out of Fulton County, too. But I would not dream of moving to Covington because of this one thing. I do not want ever just on to have to allow some government inspector to come into my home and look around. But what about substandard housing? Now, you know, Mr. Ramsey said that he had a gas leak at his house. He smelled it, but he wouldn't have done anything about it if it hadn't been for the housing inspection.
Well, that was his fault, because gas leak was not in his house. It was on the city side. It was the city's responsibility. And anytime you have a gas leak in your home, all you have to do is call the city maintenance department, and they'll come out and take care of it.
What about substandard housing? I mean, if that is the purpose behind these inspections, what do you do if you're not going to have these inspections? How do you take care of substandard housing? It's not meeting the code.
Neil, I think I have a program that will work. And that is that if you have substantial houses, if you're in the rental business, before you rent that house and before utilities are cut onto that house, then it is inspected before the people move in. And therefore, you're not infringing upon anyone's rights.
Because there's not a tenant.
That's not a tenant
because
there.
There is no resident.
There's no tenant there. But if a tenant moves out of that house, or if you sell your house, then before those utilities are cut on, again, it is inspected for safety. and then you're not coming in infringing upon anyone's rights.
What gets me is that in the for the vast majority of homes in this country, whether they are rental homes or people are living, the vast majority, I don't know, maybe 98% of them, these people are not under a program where there are mandatory periodic inspections of their homes by the government. Yet we seem to be doing okay with that system. We don't have homes blowing up all the time. We don't have people getting killed because our houses don't meet the codes. I just don't see the need for it.
Well, I agree with you. I have rental property myself now. I own a rental property myself, and that's not a rental piece of property that I have that I would not live in myself. I would not move into. And I do not want them. I just don't think the government has the right to come in to do it, what we're doing in Covington.
Okay, I appreciate you coming on the air with us today, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye-bye. We're going to keep track of it down there. Keep track of it. It's just some of you may think it's a small issue. But if you listen to this radio program for any period of time, you will know that while I accept the fact that we need some government, it is a fearful master, and I don't like the idea of them just coming in, barging into the old home place. Okay, 8720750, a homework assignment for you, ladies and gentlemen. Over the weekend, 60 minutes on Saturday night. 60 minutes on Saturday night. Kathleen Willey will be interviewed by Ed Bradley. Kathleen Willey, who's she?
Grades is just okay. It's a private school. Your parents are paying good money for it. You're expected to do well. You're expected to be in the extracurricular activities. And, you also get pressure from your peers to do well academically, which you don't find, a lot of times is prevalent in the public schools. So that's just what I was going to say is from personal experience, just a little bit of enlightenment on maybe that's why the kids did what they did.
There was cheating all the time back then?
Yeah, absolutely. There were tests. Anytime that you were to test, the day before the test came up, somebody was circulating a copy of a test.
Wow.
So.
They maybe ought to, tighten things up maybe over at Marist.
Well,
or anywhere.
Site on the greening of spring's turkey calling and the twilight of a fall's deer camp. Of course, Pigeon Mountain's rocks offer a fingertip thrill to anyone who would seek that vertical adventure, and the southeast's ragged coastline offers salt marshes alive with the bounty of taste in crab and shrimp and speckled trout, and the spectacular leaping aerials of the king of all game fish, the tarpon. Whitewater rafting and canoeing down the turbulent Class 5 rapids of the Chattooga River require a hard hat, a hard head, and a strong heart. Springer Mountain opens the door for the ultimate hiking destination, the Appalachian Trail, carrying your determination over 2,000 miles. Considering all these before us here is almost a burden, but what a pleasurable one indeed. So much to see, to share in so little time. Personally, though, I'm ready to train a couple of new outdoor adventure partners not seeking new adventures. I'll be glad to visit all the old ones over and over. He's 6-year-old Travis. He's my grandson. She's 4-year-old granddaughter Lori. I think they'll both make great outdoor buddies by spring, don't you? If you look around, you can find a Travis or a Lori to show all this to and see all this with again. It'll mean more, I promise. This is O'Neill, and I'll see you next time on O'Neill Outside.
Plant a tree for your tomorrow. It's your tree that clears the air. Plant a tree. Trees for America. Plant a tree today for all the world to share. Taste the breeze
the crime dog here, watching my nephew Scruff back for a vacation.
Okay, Unc, stand on the suitcase so I can get it closed.
Ah, you got everything you want?
Sure, base.
Received our second notice to call and schedule our inspection.
Oh, they make you call and schedule it.
Yes, they do. The first notice was delivered by an employee of that department from the Covington City inspections, I guess is what it's called.
Yeah.
And he came to my door and left some information, and he happens to know my husband, and he said, well, I don't know how y'all feel about this, but if you feel okay about it, call and schedule an appointment.
Oh, if you feel okay about it.
Just call and schedule an appointment. And we did not. That was about 4 months ago. And we just received our second notice last week in the mail, and they want us to call and schedule an appointment for them to come in and inspect. It will only take about 15 minutes, they say. They did send some information.
Well, what kind of inspection can they do in 15 minutes?
You've got me. They claim that they're going to check electrical. They're going to check for security type things like locks on your windows and doors.
Well, are you required by law to have locks on your windows?
Not that I know of. Shoot, there was a time when we never even locked our doors.
Yeah, think back to that.
Yeah, that's when I was a kid, not too long ago.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that both my husband and I are attorneys. We practice here in Covington. And so, we file lawsuits all day long. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because right now my husband and I both don't want this in our home. I understand why the reasoning behind it. I heard Bobby Sigmund speak on your program this morning. Unfortunately, I didn't hear what Mr. Ramsey had to say, but I feel like, based on your comments after Bobby spoke, that Mr. Ramsey is for the inspection.
No, he is very much for it. And let me tell you one of the things he said, and that was this, that if you refuse to allow the inspections and they have to go out and get a court order and you resist the court order, that he approves the use of force to remove you from your home and detain you while the inspection takes place. Now, he said that, and then we went to a break, and when we came back, he realized and he denied saying, but we got the tape. He said it. And so that's what they haven't. Now, I don't know where the story was. It was a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was in a suburb of Chicago. They had a mandatory inspection program up there. But up there, it was only on rental property. But a federal court judge ruled it to be unconstitutional. It would be more on point if it applied to all residences instead of just rental property.
Right.
But you may want to go looking for that as a way to fight this thing in Covington. There's all sorts of excuses for it, but it is just a government infringement that is too much.
Well, I agree. I should say that Sam Ramsey happens to be my candidate for mayor, but this is one issue that I definitely disagree with him on. They put this inspection thing together in Covington. The reasoning behind it was good. We've got some real slumlord problems here.
Yeah.
We've got a section of town that is deplorable, and you've got such low income and no income population there that they can't make these repairs themselves. And I think that this is
that exists in every city in the nation, every city of any size.
I agree, but the city was really trying to help these people out. I mean, we're talking outhouses and no electricity and no running water in some cases. It's deplorable, and it's embarrassing to our town and to us as humans.
Well, I know where they are, and I've seen them, and they're sort of legendary in Covington.
Sure they are.
They've been there for a while.
Yes, sir.
But it is no reason to tell every resident of every housing unit in Covington that you must allow the government in to inspect. I mean, when you go down a street, a new subdivision, or some nice homes in Covington, you should know they have running water, they have toilets, They have heating and air. It's just absurd. Keep me posted, Susan, on how it goes with y'all fighting this thing.
Be glad to.
Okay?
All right.
I appreciate it.
All righty.
They've now had their second notice, and they are still saying no, so the next stop probably for the city of Covington with them, the next stop is ye old court to get an order. Let's see what Bob in Decula has up.
This whole thing is very ridiculous. I spent a lot of time in Mexico.
Uh-huh.
I am not Mexican, but I'm a Hispanic. And I think all my Mexican friends that I've talked to about this think is some radical, somebody trying to make Hispanics like, excuse the expression, but like oversensitive like some of the blacks have been about a lot of issues. And,
yeah.
And we are not that way. We think it's a joke, we think it's cute, and we are not offended. And I think this woman is doing a disservice to the Hispanic people.
But she is a college instructor, so I guess we can understand, can't we?
Well, I think they do more disservices than most people.
This is just so absurd. Mexican people as spunky little dogs invading white people's homes and cars in search of tacos. I mean...
The Chihuahua is our dog, and
I know, it's a great dog, too.
Yes. And so I am not offended, and I wanted you to know that. I think I speak for a lot of Hispanic people.
Okay, thanks, Juan.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. They're great little dogs, too. They really are. Here's Greg in...
It's going well. It's out of control, Neal. I just want to say I enjoy your show.
Thank you.
I was listening to another talk show the other day, and...
What's all these people listening to other talk shows?
Well, I listen in the middle of the night as well, so it was a different talk show. So I deliver the fish wrapper, so I have to entertain myself somehow, other than popping tapes in every once in a while. But of the 3 or 4 callers touched on the subject that it wasn't basically a search for tacos. He was using it as a cut-through to get to Taco Bell. And it's the same thing with the guys in the car. He hops in the car to get to Taco Bell with the guys. So, and also there's like 3 or 4 callers that said that the people that were in the house were of African-American descent. So that's what I heard. That's what I
don't know that I've seen...
Callers.
I don't know that I've seen that one, but...
You haven't seen that's the one where he answers the Jeopardy question. It's a pretty...
No, I haven't seen that one either.
It's pretty funny because he walks through there and they ask him some kind of physics question and he pops the answer out just like that and then he scampers on out of the house. So that's all he does. He goes through the house.
Oh my God! It's stereotyping Mexicans as being knowledgeable in physics.
Hey, oh my gosh! It's a revelation.
We can't have that. We can't have Mexicans being stereotyped as being smart in physics, can we?
No, I guess not. I mean, it's not like they can't, work or be educated or anything. No, we can't have that. That's a little bit silly.
It's just so absurd. We are getting just so foolish. Why do you think, and as a matter of fact, in the face of this, Greg, I think it is time maybe for us to resurrect for another session the Neal Boortz Institute for Insensitivity Training.
All right, that sounds great.
Yeah, hey, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I guess, folks, we're going to have to do that. We're going to have to crank up here in a couple of weeks, maybe a month, the Neal Boortz Institute for Insensitivity Training. And this time we will try to make your student ID cards available to you over the internet, your diplomas and everything else. We're going to have to do that somehow, I suppose. It's getting out of hand, and it's time to put the people to work again. Article in today's, it was not today's. This would have been Wednesday's edition of Investors Business Daily. Welfare Reform's Real Barrier. It's a study in Kansas City, Missouri, of welfare recipients who got jobs, who were given jobs to move them off of welfare. 24% of them ended up being fired. Well, actually, a goodly number of them ended up being fired, but 24% of these people eventually lost their jobs because they just never showed up for work. In fact, they got the job and never even showed up for the first day of work. 23% were fired because even though they did show up for the first day of work, their absenteeism rate was so high, they just had to be let go. Can you believe that? They took all of these welfare recipients. They took these welfare recipients in Kansas City, Missouri, gave them jobs. And 47% of them, 47% of them were fired because they either never showed up the first day of work, or if they did show up the first day of work, they quit coming after that. I'm not surprised. I hope that none of you are, but I'm not the least bit surprised by that statistic. 872-0750, the number. Frank is calling us from Hartwell, Georgia. Hi, Frank.
Hello, Neal. How are you?
Go ahead, fine.
I'm calling about the Covington home inspection stormtroopers. Basically, I had the idea that it'd be a good entrepreneurial opportunity for a crook to hack into the database at the city of Covington. And then that hacker could find out everybody that didn't have locks on their windows or possibly security systems, and then be able to sell them to all the burglars in the area.
I got it. I didn't think that's the direction you were going. I got a better idea.
What's that?
Hack into the computer system, or you don't have to, just an inside job. Find out what the home inspection schedule is.
Yeah.
And then show up before the home inspector shows up.
Great.
And then go through there and case the joint to see if there's anything worth stealing.
Yeah, based upon the quality of a lot of municipal employees that I've seen, you could probably recruit right from the municipal payroll.
I mean, yeah, because these employees that carry out these inspections, they can build a heck of a little list of which homes. Now, this house has this color TV set over there and a bunch of silver on this cabinet there. And yeah, and when I went through this home on the inspection this one day, this window over here was unlocked.
That's right.
And so, yeah.
And by the way, they responded 3 times and said that they're not normally at home in these hours. You know, even if they're credible, I'm sure that this information's being stored somewhere.
Yeah, we're just talking possibilities, but it could work out this way.
Listen, I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. Real quick, I got a Timsler suggestion for the cyber vision.
Yeah.
Listen to this. Just think if you had an encounter with a Ubonic-speaking African-American. I mean, a new tape, new way to make revenue.
Oh, that's been suggested, the Pimsleur language system Ebonics tapes. But we try to give lessons here on the Neal Boortz Show every once in a while, too, just to keep everybody up to speed.
That's right. Listen, I appreciate it.
Like Pimp Tight.
You heard about the state contestants for the Ubonic speaking contest, didn't you?
No, and we're going to have to hold off on that one. But Pimp Tight. If you're a white person and you have some sub-Saharan Nubian Americans working with you, and let's say that you step out into the hall or tomorrow, what have you, and you see a black coworker wearing a nice, like a lady in your office that is wearing a real nice dress, or her hair is done up real well and she just looks sharp. Look at her and say, "You are pimp tight, baby." And it is a supreme compliment. Am I right, Royal?
I'm not going to dignify that with a response.
Yeah. Say you're pimp tight, baby. Or that is one pimp tight dress you're wearing.
You teach you a new word and you just can't wait.
Or
you can't teach them anything, ladies and gentlemen.
That is a pimp tight rack you got there. I mean, I'm trying to, we.
Oh boy.
I want to prove how cool and with it and fat I am.
Oh, you're there, Neal.
Yeah.
You are just too hip for us.
Yeah, I know I am.
Let's hang out tonight.
Yeah, where shall I go hang out tonight?
Mama's Country Showcase.
So if I happen to be downtown and I see a lovely princess walking by and I say, "That's a pimp-tight pair of shoes you have there," what's the likely reaction to be?
I would duck if I were you.
So remember, the word for the day, ladies and gentlemen, is pimp-tight. Go try it out right now. Go try it out right now. Find a lovely young black lady working in your office and find something about her that you find very, very appealing and tell her that whatever that is, it's pimp tight. And we'll be back in just a few moments. Neal Boortz on News Talk 750 WSB.
When the big story breaks.
The agreement is a slap in the face to what it called American war imperialism.
The radio is tuned to News Talk 750 WSB.
These soldiers in this...
Where we do not harvest the past, government preservationists have decreed that our offshore ocean bottom must not be disturbed. North Korea, communist North Korea.
Man, but it's nice and sunny. But you know what? I've had this problem with cardinals in the past, but this year there's a female bluebird that is just beating herself to death against my windows of my bay window unless I put the blinds down.
Please. Now, page 4. Bolivar, Missouri, had not yet discovered itself in 1972. It was one of America's best-kept secrets. Everybody knew about Branson, but north of Branson on Highway 13 and north of Springfield was a town so scenic, secure, and safe that folks came from as far away as California to retire to one of the nearby lakes. There in 1972, Walmart came to town, and customers began leaving downtown for the big Walmart out on the highway. And there was concern. What'll happen to downtown? Well, Sam Walton flew himself into the airstrip across the road to reassure townspeople that he would shop the world for the best merchandise and sell it for the least money, and everybody would prosper. And everybody did. Today, shoppers come from miles around to Bolivar. Downtown is flourishing as never before. Now the big highway Walmart is enlarging to 3 times its present size. It'll be hiring another 150 home folks by August. And yet, Bolivar retains its walk-around park in the town square, preserving the best of the past right alongside the exciting tomorrows. Bolivar, Missouri had not yet discovered itself in 1972. It has now. I tell you, there's not yet a Walmart near where you live. When there is one, you couldn't have a better neighbor.
Phone company. Now, 872-0750, the number News Talk 750 WSB, and here is Art. How you doing, Art?
Good morning, Mr. Boortz.
Yes, sir.
How are you today?
Okay.
I just wonder, I was telling Belinda and the other gentleman I was talking a while ago when I called that I've been in DeKalb County living a resident for 34 years.
Yeah.
Have a home with a double carport, open. And recently I put a chair out on my carport that was just an old used chair for maybe for my wife's cat to sleep in. Next thing
a chair in your carport for the cat to sleep in.
Beg pardon?
For the cat to sleep in. I got you. Okay.
Yeah, just an old chair.
Yeah, old chair.
And I got a citation from the county, gave me 30 days to take the chair off or else go to jail, or a $1,000 fine. Now, I asked for a copy of the ordinance that said that. As of yet, I have not gotten that, have not received that.
They don't like your chair, huh?
Evidently. And I called a couple of times and said, hey, you know what, can I put on my carport? And basically they said, well, you can't put a chair there. And I just wanted to, they said lady told me that they were doing a survey street by street in DeKalb County where they were going to get these carports cleaned up. People were using them for storage areas.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you're going to have a real good job, evidently. My street is basically retired people, as I am. And, of course, that's the only thing on my carport. But
is this a lawn chair or a big stuffed?
No, sir, it's just a regular chair that you would sit in a den chair, small den chair.
Doesn't it get kind of rank sitting out there in the rain and the weather after?
No, not in the rain. It's in an open carport. The carport's enclosed, except, it's open on the end.
Maybe I need to get a door on the carport.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, yeah, just turn it into a garage.
Yeah. But I just wonder, if that's the case in DeKalb County, they're going to have a lot of cleaning up to do.
Well, they do.
Yeah.
They do. I noticed, and thanks for the call, I noticed yesterday that the DeKalb News Era, which has been publishing in DeKalb for just about ever as the daily or the weekly newspaper there. When I was practicing law in DeKalb County, that was the newspaper that carried all of the legal advertising in DeKalb County. The foreclosure notices and incorporation notices and lawsuits and this and that and the other thing. Well, they've shut down. They've stopped publication. The reason they have stopped publication is because the sheriff of DeKalb County and some judge in DeKalb County got together and they yanked this legal advertising away from the DeKalb News Era and gave it to a newspaper in South DeKalb called The Champion. The newspaper owned, operated, and headed by people who had a skin tone that was more pleasing to this particular Superior Court judge and the sheriff. And as a result, the loss of that $1 million a year contract in the DeKalb News Era is shutting down. And so it goes, the wonderful world of government. We have Jose on the line. Jose is from Cuba. Jose.
Hey, Neal, calling from my Cha-Cha Palace in Decatur. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Listen, I just wanted you to know that I have friends from all over Latin America, and we all love those Taco Bell commercials. And I have Mexican-American friends, and no, I have yet to hear one complaint. All I know is that I'm eating more tacos because of it, and que viva Taco Bell.
Yes, long live. But now, why don't have you thought about writing some letters to these people out there that are making such idiots out of themselves and telling them to shut up?
Really, but you know how it is. The squeaky wheel gets the oil, and, it's one person, and, I mean, I don't know anybody. I was born in Cuba, but I'm as American as apple pie, maybe with a worm in it. But other than that,
That tequila worm. Is that a specific type of worm, by the way?
It's an ugly worm, is what it is. Have a great day, Neal.
I will, sir, and I appreciate your phone call. 872-0750. We have a call from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, I believe. Hi, Jim. How you doing? Jim, you there?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Speak up now. Yeah.
We got notification from the Supreme Court that our cert was denied.
What cert, Jim? Got to tell listeners who you are.
The Georgia State flag case.
Oh, yeah. This is the guy that filed the action against the Georgia State flag.
Right.
And he lost and went on appeal to the Supreme Court, and they've decided they're not going to hear it.
They're not going to hear it.
So it's over.
Well, in the federal court, but we still have a case pending in the state court. So that should move forward.
Yeah, well, I'm behind you on.
Well, I know you are, Neal.
On getting the flag changed, but I don't know that you're going. I don't hold out much hope of you succeeding through the courts to do that.
Well,
I don't see the cause of action, frankly. So.
Well, it was an exercise that needed to take place, and we fully developed the case, and it was nothing more than an education for the people. I think that's important.
Okay. Take care.
You take care now.
By the way, yesterday we were telling you about this asteroid, this 1 mile wide asteroid that was supposed to, on October the 26th, 2028 at 1:30 in the afternoon, was supposed to come within 30,000 miles of the Earth. They've revised their figures now, folks, and it is more like 600.